What's up, idols? It's CC Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for clicking on this video. So this story is going to be a part 2 to the story we just did like 3 days ago. The comments was flooded with people saying we want more, Moana, give us more, we need more, please, more, don't you say oh.
Give me more.
So before you watch this one, if you haven't seen the last story time, it's Moana and Yeonjae and the tutor Bomyu, who turned out to be a creep, but his friend is a cool one. He's a homie and they're like dating now, so that's what this is about. Last we left off, she said things were progressing kind of slowly because he's a really busy person, and it also was a little bit awkward because like she met him through his friend and the friend wanted to get with Moana, but Moana didn't want him that way. She just wanted to be the tutor. But the friend is a real one and he's the one that's with her. So it's still a little awkward. She said there was even times where she thought it was over because she thought she was being ghosted because there was a lot of time in between some of the messages. But since then, there's been some developments, some dates, some nookie. So this video will cover the part of her email that I can put on YouTube, the dates because they're PG and they're so wholesome. But she also wrote about their first steamy night together, and that cannot go on YouTube. That is going to be on Patreon. Usually Patreon videos are available first, like a few hours or 30 minutes before the YouTube one is. This time I suggest you guys watch this one first, and if you're a patron, then go over to Patreon. That's like the sequence of events. Here's a little clip. Anyway, we were about to finally start and he literally kissed every inch of my body. He apologized and told me he needs a break before we go again. He got up and went to the bathroom and was there for a long ass time, so I got worried. It seemed like he was focusing on me the whole time. It freaked me out a little bit at first because he went completely quiet. He made direct eye contact with me the whole time. He was forcing my eyes to look back at his because of the way he held my head. It was a little intense for me, but seeing him so focused was very sexy. So yeah, there's that. Also, I don't know if I say this enough to you guys, but I fully, wholeheartedly appreciate every single one of you who watch these videos. There's so much stimulation out there. There's so much content to consume. And the fact that you guys choose to come back here and engage with me and engage with my videos and like them and comment about them and share them means the absolute world to me because it takes time to go through all this and to make this content for you and to edit it and all that stuff. So I 항상 정말 감사합니다. 진짜로. I will seriously be forever grateful to each and every one of you. Right, into this story time. If you guys remember, Moana was ghosted by her tutor because after they had their night out in the club or whatever, he was drunk, so she kind of didn't want to take his advances too seriously, especially since even his friends and his homies were like, oh, this is just how he gets when he's around a pretty girl. Don't worry about it. Don't take it too seriously.
Don't think about it too much, too much, too much, too much.
But the next day, because if you remember, Yeonjae texted him to like, yo, Bomyu, you were a dick last night. You owe her an apology. So he said, yeah, you know, I'm sorry. This is how I get when I'm drunk. Let me take you out when I'm sober. But remember, he was her tutor. So she's like, listen, respectfully, I'm honored. I'm flattered. But no, I just want you to stay my tutor. And when she rejected his advances, she had not heard from him yet, like since he ghosted.
I'm going ghost!
So she sent one final message to him explaining how she was so incredibly disappointed. She said it was shameful that some men have such fragile egos and what a disappointment it is that they can't remain professional or control themselves sometimes. And it was confusing because she's like, you wanted to date me but also date other girls, like make it make sense. You were my tutor and you crossed that line. I thought you just wanted to help me make friends, but you were looking out for yourself and you were being selfish. You just wanted me closer to you. And of course, she got no reply from him after that. He didn't even bother to open the messages. And with that, she was completely ghosted, so she just blocked him. She said, fuck it, whatever, blocked. And because we love a petty queen, she decided to go on the same Hello Talk post where she first saw his services advertised as a tutor, which led to the link and the Facebook page about his services as a tutor. She decided to go back there and leave some negative, honest reviews. Oh, but he does reply to this. After he saw the messages she said, he was way out of pocket with what he said to her and about her. But we're gonna get more into his reply a little bit later in the story. So now that she said her piece and she told him what she needed to tell him, she told the world what she needed to tell about him, she is still in need of a tutor. So she decided to ask her friends like, hey, are any of you guys studying Korean? Because I had this awesome tutor, but he turned out to be a bitch. And she was actually in luck because one of her friends knew a very kind, sweet young lady who also did some tutoring on the side. She says she's so friendly, supportive, encouraging. She is the best and she's so good at explaining things. Her being so cheerful was refreshing. Though her rates were a little bit more, it was worth it. And that kind of makes me wonder, like, was he giving these girls discounts hoping that they'd pay him in other ways? So anyway, with the tutor situation resolved, Now, back to the mattress of love. So, like we said in the beginning of this video, Moana felt a little weird about dating this dude because she met him through a guy that she is no longer talking to, and they had like a pretty ugly fallout. But Yeonjae insisted everything was all good. In fact, Beomgyu was dating another girl. So like, if it was no big deal to Beomgyu because he's dating other girls, why can't you still be her tutor? Like, why did you have to make that like ghosting? Are we 12? And at first, that combined with the fact that there were sparse replies from Yeonjae, she kind of thought, this is just awkward and weird. Best not to go down this road. But one day, Yeonjae hit her up being all sweet and cute. He apologized for the slow replies, but he said he is a really busy person. And he said he also wanted to make sure things were like actually good with Beomgyu, because like you can say, yeah, I'm fine, bro. It's totally fine. But you don't actually mean it all the time, right? And with all that cleared up, he felt like he was ready to take her out on a proper date. He asked if they could meet during the week because his weekends at the moment were just impossible. And for Moana, it just meant like skipping a session with her tutor, which she was fine with. So onward, we have a plan, we have a date between Moana and Yeonjae. Now, she was really excited to see him because at this point she had not seen him since he escorted her home from the club. And for reference, that club incident was like 3 weeks prior to this date that they're planning now. So not so long. A lot of this is really new and happening like in real time. There was some bad news though. As their date grew closer, the forecast was not in their favor and they saw that it was gonna rain and be really hot. Yeonjae figured they'd probably be really uncomfortable being wet and in the rain, so he had another idea. He said we can still do lunch, or we can move it a little bit sooner and make it a brunch, and how about I take you on a nice drive? And come on bro, who doesn't want to be a passenger princess? And this was a surprise to her because she didn't know that he drove. It wasn't his car though. He did say like it's his parents' car, but he drives it more than they do because they don't like to drive and he's the one who usually has to drive them around. She was disappointed about the festival because that sounded lovely, but chilling with Bae, listening to music, driving around sounds fun as fuck too. And he said, look at it this way, you can see more than just Seoul. Like we can go around the Gyeonggi-do province a little bit and you can see, you know, some cities nearby. Now it's Wednesday, the day of their date, and instead of lunch, they're doing brunch in Lotte Tower. And another thing that sucks is originally he planned this place because he wanted her to have a nice panoramic view of Seoul, but because of the weather, all she can see is clouds. He made all these plans and the weather straight up said, fuck your plans. So they did walk around Lotte Tower for a little bit because there's a lot to do in Lotte Tower, but at the same time, driving was gonna take a while. So they was like, we need to eat, do a little quick walkie-walkie, and we need to get on the road. He had his circuit all planned out. They were going to go to Goyang, Bucheon, and Guri. Those are cities around Seoul, like not too far, but still not Seoul. There were some fortresses and some folk villages that he thought she might like to see. And Moana was like, this car is nice. She said it was a brand new 2024 Kia Soul, and it had like a panoramic sunroof. And what she liked about that is the fact that it was raining. She could just look up and see the rain coming down, and it was just ambient. But yeah, she said she had fun getting to know him through his music taste, and they talked about movies they liked. They talked about their hobbies. She even found out that he lived in Australia for 3 years when he was a kid. She had no idea, but it explained his English. So every now and then they would stop and get out of the car and walk hand in hand, arm in arm, sharing one umbrella through a folk village so she could get a feel for it, the culture. And then once the rain became to be too much, they would just sprint and bolt back to the car, head on to the next place. And she said he was such a sweetheart the whole time. He insisted on holding the umbrella himself. But she also felt a little uncomfortable because they were really close and she's like, I have an umbrella, you have an umbrella, why are we sharing an umbrella? But then she thought, oh, this is Korea, maybe that's just how they do it here. So they spent the day driving around, and because they were in the car so long, they would stop and get snacks and everything along the way. They were literally out all day. It was almost midnight when he dropped her back off at her apartment. She knew the next day at work was going to be rough, but it was worth it. So when he took her home, he asked her if it would be okay to kiss her. And don't we love a consent king? It was a cute peck on the lips, nothing too crazy. He kept it respectful. So when she gets back in the house, she was absolutely buzzing. He was so much fun. He was so sweet, so funny. And she's like, text me when you get home. And when he got home, he said, I had fun. I hope you have fun too. I can't wait to do this again soon. So, you know, he knew he nailed it. He didn't even ask her for a second date. He let her know for the next date, I hope you're gonna have fun too, because there's gonna be another date. So let's skip ahead to that next date. The weather had finally decided to cooperate, and he finally got to take her to that festival that she wanted to go to. And they were lucky because it was the last weekend of the festival. He said there's gonna be plenty of street food, so we'll eat there, and then afterwards we can get some drinks and relax. There was a cute plant stall, and on their road trip, she told him how much he likes house plants and like she collects them and she wants to have more, but she just got to Korea. She misses her plants from back home. So he bought her a cute little plant and she named it after him. And this is where things kind of took a turn. Do you remember earlier in the video when the tutor had ghosted Moana? So she told him about himself, and then she told the world about him too, and she left a bunch of negative but honest reviews. Shit doth hit the fan now. While they were out on this date, Moana and Yunjae got a text from his homie Bomyu.
Oh shit, here we go again.
And he saw what Moana has said about him. So basically she's like, don't sign up for his services unless you're okay with constant flirtation and unprofessionalism. He uses his looks to get students. Don't fall for it. You've been warned. And because Moana blocked him, he couldn't yell at her or confront her directly about it. So for some reason, he thought it'd be a good idea to tell his homie Yunjae, hey, tell your girl this bad shit I want to say about her for me. Like, what? Why would you do that? Why would you do it to your friend, for one? So Moana could tell something was wrong because Yunjae was looking at his phone and he seemed perplexed. So she asked him if everything was okay. And he says, oh, don't worry about it. It's best you don't know. Now, who hears that? Who honestly hears that and goes, oh, okay, well, that's fine. These plants are lovely. Like, no, that makes you want to know more. That makes you more curious. So after Moana insisted, like, yo, what is going on? Tell me what's going on. He finally showed her his phone so she could read the message herself. Tell your GF not to say such things that affect my work. Her misunderstandings aren't fact. She's not my style and couldn't accept it. That's why she's not my student.
What you say? That you only meant well.
Bro, what? Moana was fuming, as you can imagine. So she showed Yunjae exactly what he said to her. Because remember, the next day after the club, sorry, I'm loud, I'm getting excited. Remember, after the night of clubbing, Bomyu texted her to apologize and said he wanted to take her on a real date. Moana said, no, I like you better as my tutor. And that's when he ghosted her. She has those messages, so she can show Yunjae exactly what's up. Not only that, but he was there too. Yunjae saw Bomyu throwing himself at Moana and her being like, respectfully, no.
No!
So like, it's one thing to lie to somebody, right? But how you gonna lie to somebody who saw how you were with his own eyes? Doth mine own eyes deceive me? So she apologized to Yunjae for being brought into the middle of this. And he said, don't worry about it. Like, I was there. I saw everything that happened. These texts only reinforce what I already knew, you know? And then she said, you know, it might have been a little petty for me to say what I said about him online, but I felt it was only fair to warn potential students because a lot of his clientele does seem to be women. So Yunjae replied to Bomyu saying, hey, I'm not trying to get involved in this. Leave me out of it. And he also reminded him that he was there that night in the club and saw exactly what happened when he was in the taxi drunkenly saying, oh, sarange, I love you. So to come up with that idea and flip the script that, oh, she wants me and I didn't want her and she couldn't accept it is wild. Absolutely insane. That's a bold claim. Anyway, with the exception of that, their second date went well too. They spent the whole day at the festival and they decided, let's go get some drinks and relax. It is funny because even while they went to this next bar or club, wherever she just said they went to get drinks, she still has this little plant with her. I don't know how big it is, but can you imagine going into a bar or a club or a pub holding a plant? Like, it's cute. So as they're drinking, you know, they're becoming a lot more cuddly. They're even kissing more. He's giving her some like forehead kisses, some pecks on the lip. And eventually Moana asked him if he would like to come back to her apartment to drink some more. What y'all think she trying to drink? So they get the bill, they head out, and they get into a taxi together. The whole taxi ride, they cannot keep their hands off of each other. So yeah, when they get to their place, they had their first little steamy night together. And as of writing this, all this happened a few days ago, so it's still brand new. It's happening as we speak. Luckily though, she hasn't heard anything from Bomyu about the complaints from the review. She refused to take them down, which I think he can delete some of them, but also because it's like a business account, you can't, naturally you wouldn't be able to like delete negative reviews about your business, right? So I think some of them are still up there. So yeah, for the tea on their steamy night, head over to Patreon. But that concludes this part of the story. That is the end. Moana, thank you so much. I know, right, like, guys, she sent me a whole PDF file. It was like 5 pages. It's a lot. She put a lot of details into this and I appreciate her for it. Thank you so much. I am so happy that you're happy and I hope Yunjae stays the gentleman that he is because he sounds amazing. Can you imagine finding yourself in an unintentional love triangle? Like you were just looking for a tutor and then you found the homie instead and you like him, but the tutor couldn't respect that. So now he in his feelings. If you want to see more of these story times, please check out the playlist. It's about to pop up on the end screen and there are so many dating in Korea story times. Thank you so much for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Annyeong!